Hello, in this video we're going to be solving mathematics past questions for Jamb 2019. We're going to try and solve it and explain it as simply as we can. So let's go. Now the first question says make Q the subject of the formula in equation M in this equation we have here. Now to do that, we have mn over a squared minus pq over b squared equals 1. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is subtract pq over b squared from both sides of our equation. So if we do that, we have add pq over b squared to both sides of our equation. So we have plus pq over b squared. So if we do that, this cancels out this, and on this side we have 1 plus pq over b squared. So our equation becomes mn over a squared equals 1 plus pq over b squared. So we want to get rid of this 1 and move it to this side. And to do that, we subtract 1 from both sides of our equation. If we do that, this 1 cancels out this 1, and we have mn over a squared minus 1 on this side. We have mn over a squared minus 1 equals pq over b squared. So the next thing we want to do is to get rid of p and b squared and leave q by itself on this side of the equation. To do that, we can multiply both sides by b squared and divide by p. So if we do that, we would have this side multiplied by b squared divided by p, and this side multiplied by b squared divided by p. So b squared in the numerator cancels out the b squared in the denominator here, and p cancels out p here. So we're left with q on this side alone. And if we multiply this by everything here, our new equation becomes b squared over p multiplied by mn over a squared minus 1 equals q. Now this could be our answer, but if we look at the options we're given here, obviously they want us to solve what's in the bracket here. So if we do that, we have that this is b squared over p, and in the brackets we have a squared to be our LCM here. A squared divided by a squared is 1. 1 times mn is equal to mn, and a squared divided by 1, imagine we have a denominator of 1 here. So a squared divided by 1 is equal to a squared multiplied by 1 is equal to a squared, and this is equal to q. And if we expand what we have in the denominator here, our new answer is going to be b squared into mn minus a squared, all divided by a squared multiplied by p equals q. And from the options we have here, A seems to be the right answer. The second question says the angle of elevation of the top of a tree from a point on the ground 60 meters away from the foot of the tree is 78 degrees. Find the height of the tree correct to the nearest whole number. Now, if this is the point of the observer and this is the ground level, now we are told that the angle of elevation to the top of a tree is 78 degrees. So if this is the top of our tree right here, and this is our tree, we're also told that the tree is 60 meters away. So this is 60 meters away from the observer here. Now we're told to find the height of the tree. So let's go to our legendary formula, SOHCAHTOA. So we know this is a trig function. This is a shortcut for trig functions and the relationship of the sides that gives those trig functions. So for example, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. So in this case, we're looking for x, which is the height of the tree here. Now, what we have is our x is the opposite of the angle here, and 60 is the adjacent side. Now, obviously, this is the hypotenuse. So what relationship do we have here that relates the opposite and the adjacent? And that's tan, because tan theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So in this case, tan 78 degrees is equal to x, which is the opposite here, over the adjacent, which is 60 meters. So x, making x 0 of the formula here means transferring 60 to this side. And so 60 tan 78 degrees is equal to x. So tan 78 degrees is equal to 4.705. And 60 multiplied by 4.705 would give you 282.27. So if we approximate that to the nearest whole number, that just leaves us with 282 meters. And so the right answer here is C. Question number 3. A binary operation represented by this symbol is defined by m operation n equals m multiplied by n plus m minus n. Now on the set of real numbers for all m n is being a member of R, and we've been asked to find the value of 3 operation into bracket 3 operation 4. And we've been asked to find the value of this operation here. Now if we have 3 operation 4, now I'll suggest that we start by solving what we have in the bracket first. And if we do that, we have that 2 operation 4 is equal to mn, that is 2 multiplied by 4, plus m minus n, that's 2 minus 4. So this will be equal to 2 multiplied by 4 is 8, plus 2 minus 4. 8 plus 2 is 10, and 10 minus 4 equals 6. So now we know that this is equal to 6. So our new expression will be 3 operation 6. So now if we solve for this, we have this to be equal to 3 operation 6 is 3 multiplied by 6 plus 3 minus 6. And this equals 18. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 3 minus 6. So 18 plus 3 is 21, and 21 minus 6 is equal to 15. So the answer to this question is option C. Question 4 says, the table above shows the number of pupils in the class with respect to their ages. If a pie chart is constructed to represent the age, the angle corresponding to 8 years old is. So imagine that we have a pie chart, which is obviously a circle. And this portion here, if this is the center of the circle, 0, and this portion here represents the portion we're looking for, which is the portion corresponding to 8 years old. Now, obviously, what we're looking for is the angle, this angle here, that's over 360. So angle x over 360 that corresponds to the age 13. Sorry, the age 8 here. So first things first, let's find out the total number of people in the class, total number of pupils in the class. So that's 4 plus 13 plus 30 plus 44 plus 9. And that gives us 100. So we have 100 students in the class. So the portion of pupils that are 8 years old in the class is 13 over 100. And we multiply that by 360 degrees. So if we do that, we have this 100 cancels out this to give us 3 points. So this is 13 multiplied by 3.60. And that will give us 46.8. So x is 46.8. That means this angle right here is 46.8. And the answer is C. Number 5 says, in a class of 50 students, 40 students offer physics, 30 offer biology. How many offered both physics and biology? So, in essence, we're saying that the total number of students in the class equals 50. And the total number of students that offer physics equals 40. The total number of students that offer biology is 30. Now, the total number of pupils that offer, or students that offer physics and biology is X. Let's assume X. So if we want to know the pupils that offer physics only, that means we're going to subtract the number of pupils that offer physics, everybody that offers physics, minus those that offer both subjects. So we're left with those that offer only physics. And that's going to be 40 minus X. If we're also trying to find out the number of pupils that offer biology only, that's going to be total number of students that offer biology minus those that offer both physics and biology. This gives us the total number of students that offer biology only. So it's safe to say that the total number of students in this class is equal to the number of students that offer physics only plus the number of students that offer biology only plus the number of students that offer both physics and biology. Now, in this case, there's no overlap at all. We know those that offer physics only, we know those that offer biology only, and we know those that offer both subjects only. So if we add all of them up, we'll be able to get the total number of students in the class. So if we substitute this for what we have here, we would have that total number of students is 50. So we have 50 equals total number of students that offer physics only is 40 minus X. So we have 40 minus X plus biology only is 30 minus X plus those that offer both physics and biology, which is X here. So 50 equals 40 plus 30. If we collect like terms, and we have minus X plus X. So minus X cancels out plus X, and we're left with 70 minus X. So from here, we know that X is equal to 70 minus 50. And that's X is equal to 20. So the number of students that offer both physics and biology is at 20. And the answer right here is B. The next question wants us to rationalize this SOD expression here. When you have an expression like this in SOD, root 2 plus root 3 over root 2 minus root 3. What we do is we multiply this expression by the denominator here, changing the sign in the middle. So what I mean is this is going to become root 2, but instead of minus here, we'd have plus root 3 over root 2 plus root 3. And then we can solve this. We can multiply root 2 multiplied by root 2 equals 2. Root 2 multiplied by root 3 equals plus root 2 multiplied by 3. Root 3 multiplied by root 2 equals plus 2 multiplied by 3. And root 3 multiplied by root 3 equals plus 3. All over. Root 2 multiplied by root 2 is 2. Root 2 multiplied by root 3 equals plus root 2 multiplied by 3. Minus root 3 multiplied by root 2 is minus root 2 multiplied by 3. And minus root 3 multiplied by root 3 equals minus 3. So now we know that plus root 2 multiplied by 3 minus root 2 multiplied by 3 will cancel out one another. And so we can write down our new equation as 2 plus, this becomes root 6, and this becomes root 6 as well. So we have 2 root 6 here. So this is going to be 2 root 6 plus 3. All divided by 2 minus 3. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. So we have 5 plus 2 root 6, all divided by minus 1. Now, obviously, what we're saying here is if anything divided by minus 1 is equal to minus whatever it is. So that's going to be minus 5 plus 2 root 6. And that will be equal to minus 5 minus 2 root 6. So our answer is A. So question 7 says, find the length of the chord AB in the diagram shown above. Now, the chord is a line that touches two parts of a circle without passing through the center. So this particular line here. And the formula for finding a chord is 2r sine theta over 2. So our r in this case is 3 centimeters. So we have 2 multiplied by 3 sine, and theta is the angle we have here, 68 divided by 2. So we have 2 multiplied by 3 is 6 sine. 68 divided by 2 is 34 degrees. So sine 34 degrees is equal to 0.5592. And 6 times that equals 3.3552 centimeters. So if we approximate that, that's equal to 3.4. So our answer here is D. Question 8 says, given sine 58 degrees is equal to cos P degrees, find P. Now, to answer this question, a very useful trig relationship that you should know is that sine theta degrees is equal to cos 90 minus theta degrees. From the expression we're given, we know that this is sine 58, and that's going to be equal to cos 90 minus 58 degrees. So sine 58 degrees is equal to cos 32 degrees. So our answer here is 32 degrees. C. So question 9 wants us to solve this equation. We have 2 over 3 divided by 4 over 5, all divided by 1 over 4 plus 3 over 5 minus 1 over 3. So here, if we start by replacing the division sign here to a multiplication sign to make our life easier. So we have 2 over 3 multiplied by, and we know that we have to flip this when we do that. So that's going to become 5 over 4, all divided by 1 over 4 plus 3 over 5 minus 1 over 3. So 2 can cancel out 4 to give us 5 over 2. So now we have 5 divided by 3 times 2, which is 6. All over, if we find the LCM of all we have here, that's going to be equal to 60. Now 60 divided by 4 is 15. 15 times 1 is 15. 60 divided by 5 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. 60 divided by 3 is 20. 20 times 1 is minus 20. So our new equation is 5 over 6 divided by 15 plus 36 is 51 minus 20, that's 31, divided by 60. So we can rewrite this expression as 5 over 6. If we change this from division to multiplication instead, and then we flip this fraction, we have 60 over 31. So 6 can go both sides here to give us 10 here. And 5 times 10 equals 50 over 31. So our answer in this place is D. Question 10 says, if 6x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 divides x squared minus x minus 1, find the remainder. So here we have that we'll have to do a long division. 6x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. If that's divided by 2x x squared minus x minus 1. So when you have the division of polynomials like this, what you do is you take the first term here, which is 6x cubed, and you divide it by x squared. and that gives you 6x. So 6x, then the next step is you take the answer you have here, 6x, and you multiply all through here and write your answers down here. So 6x multiplied by x squared, you have 6x cubed. 6x multiplied by minus x, you have minus 6x squared. And 6x multiplied by minus 1, you have minus 6x. So now you subtract everything you have here from our main problem. So if you do that, don't forget this subtraction is going to have an effect on all of the terms here. So if obviously this is going to be minus 6x squared now, this is going to be plus 6x squared because you multiply it by this minus, and this is going to be plus 6x squared as well. So 6x squared minus 6x squared, nothing is left, that's 0. So now we have 2x squared plus 6x squared, and that's going to be equal to 8x squared. And now we have minus 5x plus 6x, and that's going to be equal to plus x. And then we can bring down our 1 here. Now the next thing is you take the first term here again and you divide it by x squared again. So 8x squared divided by x squared is going to give us plus 8. And then you repeat what we have done before. Now you're multiplying through by 8. So we have 8 multiplied by x squared. It's going to give us 8x squared. And now 8 multiplied by minus x is going to give us minus 8x. And 8 multiplied by minus 1 is equal to minus 8. So we do what we did before again, we subtract. And don't forget that the subtraction is going to have an effect on every time here. So this is going to be minus 8x. Minus times minus becomes plus 8x. Minus times minus becomes plus 8. So let's solve. Now we have 8x minus 8x is going to be 0. Nothing happens. So x plus 8x, that's going to be 9x. And 1 plus 8, that's going to be plus 9. Now there's nothing to bring down here anymore. So this is the remainder. This is our answer, 6x plus 8. But we have a remainder of 9x plus 9. And that's what we've been told to find, the remainder. So our answer in this case is A. Question 11 says, if a fair coin is tossed 3 times, what is the probability of getting at least 2 heads? The first thing I'll suggest that we do is quickly calculate how many outcomes are possible. So when you have a coin tossed 3 times, the total number of outcomes you will get is 2 raised to power 3. So if the coin is tossed 4 times, you get 2 raised to power 4. If it's tossed 5 times, you get 2 raised to power 5. And in this case, we get 8 outcomes. So the total number of outcomes we're expecting is 8. So now let's write down those outcomes. The first outcome is we have head 3 times. It's also possible that we have 2 heads and 1 tail. And then we have head, tail, head. Or we have tail, head, head. Or we have head, tail, tail. It's possible that we have tail, head, tail, or tail, tail, head. And then finally, it's possible that we have all tails. Now, these are the only 8 outcomes that are possible if the coin is tossed 3 times. These are the total outcomes. So the question says that what is the probability of getting at least 2 heads? Now, the formula for probability is total observations over total outcomes. Total outcome. Now in this case, our observations for getting at least 2 heads include we have 1, there are 3 heads here, we have 2, there are 2 heads here, we have 3, 2 heads, we have 4, 2 heads, and for the others we have either 1 head or no head at all. So the total observations for at least 2 heads here is 4, and the total outcome in general is 8. So the probability of getting at least 2 heads is half. 1 over 2. So the answer here is D. Question 12 says, in how many ways can the word mathematician be arranged? Now, mathematician has 13 letters. So if no letter was repeated in this word, we would be able to have rearranged this word 13 factorial times. 13 factorial simply means 13 multiplied by 12, multiplied by 11, multiplied by 10, multiplied by 9, all the way to multiplied by 1. So we have times 8 times 7 all the way to this. And this is going to be equal to 6,227,020,800 times. However, because certain letters reoccur here, for example, we have A here 3 times, we have T here 2 times, and so on. Because those letters reoccur here, the number of ways in which we can rearrange this word obviously decreases, because those words they are interchangeable. For us, it doesn't mean anything. So how do we calculate the reduction that each duplicate letter takes away from this number? It's simple. In this case, for example, we have A is repeated 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 factorial ways in which the repetition of A reduces from this sum. The second one we have is T. T repeats itself twice. So we have T 2 factorial number of times. We also have that M repeats itself twice. I didn't say that before. So M also 2 factorial times. And the last one is I. I repeats itself twice as well. So I also 2 factorial times. So now the total number of ways we can rearrange the word mathematician becomes 13 factorial divided by the multiplication of all the repeated letters. So 3 factorial, 2 factorial for T, 2 factorial for M, and 2 factorial for I. So 13 factorial, like we said before, is 6,227,020,800. And 3 factorial multiplied by 2 factorial multiplied by 2 factorial multiplied by 2 factorial is simply 3 times 2 and then multiplied by 2 times 2 times 2. And that's 48. So we divide this by 48. And now the total number of ways in which we can rearrange the word is 129,729,600 ways. So our answer is D. Question 13 says, given the matrix M, which we have here, find M transpose plus 2 multiplied by the matrix. So the first thing we need to do is evaluate M transpose. Now, the transpose of any matrix is simply a situation where we substitute the columns for the rows. So instead of having this matrix that we have right here, we're going to rewrite this as minus 2. Instead of 0 here, we have this 0 here. Oh, they are the same thing anyways. So 0, but 5 here. So the columns becomes the rows and the rows becomes the columns. So we start again from 0, minus 1 and 6. That's this column become the second row here, and this third column becomes the third row here. So we have 4, 6, 3. And that's how you find the transpose of any matrix. Now, for the second term here, which is 2m, if you have a scalar multiplication of a matrix, which is just a number multiplying the matrix here. So the matrix is minus 2, 0, 4, 0, minus 1, 6, 5, 6, 3. So a scalar in a scalar number multiplying a matrix is simply this number multiplying each item in the matrix. So the new matrix for 2m is going to be 2 multiplied by minus 2, that's minus 4. 2 multiplied by 0 is 0. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. And 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. So these are new matrix 2m. So the transpose of m plus 2m is going to be this matrix right here plus this matrix right here. So our answer would be, to add two matrix, all you have to do is add the corresponding terms here. So -2 plus -4, 0 plus 0, 5 plus 8, and so on. So our new answer, or our matrix M transpose plus 2M, is going to be -2 plus -4, that's -6. 0 plus 0, that's 0. 5 plus 8 is 13. 0 plus 0 is 0. -1 plus -2 is -3. 6 plus 12 is 18. 4 plus 10 is 14. 6 plus 12 is 18. And 3 plus 6 is 9. So this is the solution to our matrix, and the corresponding answer here is matrix B. Question 14 says find the mean of the data presented above. Now when you have a table like this and you're looking for the mean is simply the summation of the frequencies multiplied by each term, the summation of each frequency multiplied by each term, and divided by the summation of the frequency. So in this case, the summation of the frequency multiplied by x's would multiply 0 by 5 plus 1 times 7 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 multiplied by 7 plus 4 multiplied by 11 plus 5 multiplied by 6 plus 6 multiplied by 7. So this is going to be equal to 0 plus 7 plus 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3 times 7, 21 plus 44 plus 30 plus 42. And if we add all that together, we're going to get 150. And the summation of our frequency is simply the addition of just the frequencies. So that's 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 11 plus 6 plus 7. And if we add all that together, we'll get 46. So our mean is equal to 150 divided by 46. And that's equal to 3.26. So our answer in this particular case is A. So question 15 wants us to calculate the variance for the same data sets that we just worked on. So the formula for variance is the summation of the frequency multiplied by each occurrence minus the mean squared divided by the summation of the frequency. Now for this, in order to avoid making mistakes, I would advise that you build a table, and the table looks like this. So let's go over this table. The first column here is simply an outline of the scores as they appear here, and here is simply an outline of the frequency as they appear here. Now the third column is x minus the mean. So each score minus the mean. We had already calculated the mean from the previous question, which is 3.26. So 0 minus 3.26 is minus 3.26. 1 minus 3.26 is minus 2.26, and so on. Now, the next column is the square of what we have here. So minus 3.26 squared is 10.63, and minus 2.26 squared is 5.11. Now, the next column we have here is a multiplication of the frequency by the fourth column, and 5 times 10.63 is equal to 50.15. Now, this gives us the numerator here. So what is left to finalize the numerator here is the summation of all these terms. And if we add them together, we would have 170.97. So now we have our numerator here is 170.97. And the summation of our frequency is 46. So this is 46. So our variance is 170.96 divided by 46. And that's equal to 3.72, which is equal to D here. Question 16. The locus of a point which moves so that it is equidistant from two intersecting straight lines is D. Now, if we have two straight lines intersecting such as this, the locus of two intersecting straight lines are two lines that bisect the angle between those lines. So this line as well as this line. These are the two locus. If we have a point, the locus of a point is simply a circle around that point, which means at all times or at any point on this circle, it is always equal distance from this point. If we have a straight line such as this, the locus of a straight line are two parallel lines on either side of the line. And if we have maybe two lines or 2 points, the locus from these two lines or these 2 points is a line bisecting the distance between those 2 points. Now, for this particular question, the question is, if we have two intersecting lines, what is the locus of those two intersecting lines? That's the line. For this case, we have two lines that bisect the angle created by those two lines. And in this case, in my opinion, the best answer for this question is C. A is somewhat ambiguous. It says the bisector of the two lines, but that's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is actually the bisector of the angles. So I would say C. Question 17 says, from the cyclic quadrilateral MNOP above, find the value of x. Now, there's a rule that we need to know here. When we have a cyclic quadrilateral like we have here, the rule says that opposite angles are equal to 180 degrees. So this plus this is supposed to be equal to 180. And if we know the values of this and this angle here plus this angle here, if we add them together, they should be all equal to 180 as well. So in this case, we know that 2x plus 18 plus 84 should be equal to 180 degrees. So here we have 2x plus 18 plus 84 equals 92, equals 102, and that equals 180. So we have that 2x is equal to 180 minus 102, which is equal to 78. And so x is equal to 78 divided by 2, which is 39 degrees. So x in this case is D, 39 degrees. Question 18 says, if 4 sine square x minus 3 equals 0, find the value of x when x is between 0 and 90 degrees. Now, all we're being told here is to solve for x. So if we have 4 sine square x minus 3 equals 0. So let's make x the square root formula here. If we add 3 to both sides, we have 4 sine square x equals 3. Now, if we divide both sides by 4, we'll get rid of the 4 here and move it over here. So that will be sine square x equals 3 over 4. Now, if we find the square root of both sides, the square root will cancel out the square we have here, leaving us with sine x. And this is going to be equal to the square root of 3 over 4. Now, if we bring 4 out of this square root, we'll have root 3 over 2 as the square root of 4 equals 2. So sine x is equal to root 3 over 2. So x is simply the arcsine of root 3 over 2. At this point, I would advise that you just evaluate root 3 over 2. And if you do that, you find out that x is equal to sine arc 0.8660. And this is equal to 60 degrees. Obviously, if you use your calculator to compute this, you have 60 degrees. And that means that the answer here is C. Question 19 says, in the figure above, line CD is the base of the triangle CDE. Find the area of the figure to the nearest whole number. So we treat this as two separate shapes. So first we have the rectangle and then we have the triangle here. The area of the rectangle is simply 7 multiplied by 4, which is the length times the breadth. And the area of the triangle is half of the base times height. So half of the base here is 4 centimeters, and the height 3 centimeters. So here we have 7 times 4, which is equal to 28, plus half of 4 is 2. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. And this is equal to 34 centimeters squared. So our answer here is D. Question 20 says the marks scored by 30 students in a mathematics test are recorded in the table below. What is the total number of marks scored by the children? Here you might be tempted to just add up the scores and say we have 15, but that's not the case. So what we have to do is simply multiply the marks by the frequency and then add them all up. So we have 0 multiplied by 4 plus 1 multiplied by 3 and this is going to be equal to 0 times 4 is 0 plus 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 times 7, that's 14, 3 times 8 is 16, 4 times 6 is 24, and 5 times 2 is 10. And if we add all this together, we're going to have 75. So 75 is what we have when we combine all of the children's score. And our answer here is D. Question 81 says, if given 2 points A and B here with the coordinates on an xy plane, find the equation of the straight line with intercept at 2. So the equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the slope and c is the y-intercept, meaning where the y crosses the y-axis, the line crosses the y-axis. Now to find our slope m, we would have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if we look at our question here, we'll have that this is x1 and this is y1 and this is x2 and this is y2. So m equals y2 is going to be equal to 22 minus y1, which is 12, and x2 is 5 minus x1, which is 3. So here you have 22 minus 12 is 10, and 5 minus 3 equals 2. So our m is equal to 5. So we know the intercept already. So our equation, the equation of our line is going to be y equals our m, which we just found, which is 5x, plus the intercept, which we were given already, 2. So the equation of our line is y equals 5x plus 2. And that means that our answer here is A. Question 22 says, if the point P, which has this coordinate, is the midpoint of the line joining Q and R, find the values of M and N. So to find the midpoint of a line, that will be equal to the midpoint. So the coordinate of a midpoint is equal to x2 plus x1 divided by 2, y2 plus y1 divided by 2. So this gives us the coordinate of the midpoint. But the coordinate of the midpoint, we already have it here. We're given as 2m, which is point P. And the line itself, we're given here as well. This represents, the line is connected by points Q and M. So this is our x1, this is our y1, and this is our x2, and this is our y2. So x2 equals n plus x1, which is m over 2, and the y points for our midpoint is y2 is minus 4 plus y1, which is n over 2. So now we know that if we had all the answers, this point right here is what would have given us is equal to 2. And we know that this point right here is equal to m, which is what would have given us our y. So we can write out our equation as the first equation is n plus m over 2 is equal to 2 here, and minus 4 plus n over 2 is equal to m here. So the top equation, if we multiply through by 2, we get rid of this 2, and this becomes 4. So n plus m is equal to 4. And if we do the same for the equation below here, we have minus 4 plus n equals 2m. Now, this is a simultaneous equation problem. We can get our solutions by substituting, by finding the value of maybe m in this first equation. So if we do that, we have that m is equal to 4 minus n. Now that we have this, we can substitute this into the second equation and solve for n. So if we do that here, if we substitute 4 minus n for m in this equation, we'll have that minus 4 plus n equals 4 minus n. So this is going to be equal to minus 4 plus n equals 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times minus n is minus 2n. So if we collect like terms, that send minus 2n over here to become plus 2n, we have n plus 2n. And if we send minus 4 over here to become plus 4, that's 8 plus 4. So 3n, n plus 2n is 3n equals 12. And that means n equals 12 divided by 3. So n equals 4. So now that we have the value of n here, all we have to do is substitute it into this equation. So n equals 4, that's 4 plus m equals 4. That means m equals 4 minus 4, and that's 0. So we have that m is equal to 0 and n is equal to 4. So the answer that corresponds to that here is A. Question 23 says, if the determinant of this matrix here is equal to 58, find the value of x. Now, to find the determinant of a matrix A, B, C, D, the determinant is A multiplied by D minus B multiplied by C. So if we have the question 2 minus 4x 9, 2 multiplied by 9 minus 4 multiplied by x, and we're told that this is equal to 58. So this is 2 times 9 is 18, and here we have minus 4x, and minus 4x multiplied by minus will become plus 4x equals 58. So 4x is equal to 58. If we send 18 to this side, it becomes minus 18, and that's equal to 40. So if 4x is equal to 40, then dividing both sides by 4, we have x is equal to 10. So our answer is that x is equal to 10. A is the answer here. Question 24 says, if y is 6x cubed plus 2x raised to power minus 2 minus x raised to power minus 3, find dy dx. So we have 6x cubed plus 2x raised to power minus 2 minus x raised to power minus 3. And they want us to differentiate all of this with respect to x. So if we have x raised to power n, the derivative of x raised to power n is first we multiply, we bring down our n here, and we have n multiplied by x, and then we subtract 1 from the power here. So if we do that to this, now the first one is pretty straightforward. All we have to do is multiply 3 by 6 here. So we have 18x, and then 3 minus 1 is equal to 2, so 18x squared. Now for this, it might be a little bit confusing, so let's write it out here. So if we have 2x minus 2, the derivative is we bring minus 2 and multiply it by what we have here. So we have minus 2 multiplied by 2x, and then we have minus 2 minus 1. So the derivative of this is going to be minus 4x. Minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. And minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. So our derivative here is going to be, it's not going to be plus, but rather we would have minus 4x raised to power minus 3. And for this one, we have x raised to power minus 3. So the same way we bring minus 3 forward here. So it's going to be minus 3x and then minus 3 minus 1. So the derivative is going to be minus 3x minus 4. So this is going to be minus 3x minus 4. Obviously, this is going to become plus. So dy dx is 18x squared minus 4x raised to power minus 3 and plus 3x raised to power minus 4. So the option that corresponds to that answer here is C. Question 25 wants us to differentiate this expression. Now, to differentiate an expression such as log of 4x cubed minus 2x, we would need the chain rule. Now, we use the chain rule for differentiation when we have a function such as this lodged into another function such as this. So when we have a function lodged into another function, then we use the chain rule. And the summary of the chain rule is something like dy dx is equal to dy du multiplied by du dx, such that when du cancels du at the end of the day, we're left with dy dx. Now, how do we go about this? Let me clean up this. So the first thing we need to do is to designate the inner function, in this case 4x cubed minus 2x, as u. So if we do that, if this is y, so if we do that, y then becomes log u. So now we can differentiate our y with respect to u. So if we do our dy du, would have that log to the base e of the differential of log to the base e with respect to u is equal to 1 over u. So now we have our dy du. Then we'll go for our du dx. So now we're differentiating our u, which is 4x cubed minus 2x with respect to x. So our differential in this case is going to be equal to 12x squared. So we bring these 3 down to multiply our 4 here, which is just 12, and then we subtract 1 from our power, which is 3 minus 1 gives us 2. If we do the same thing here, when we have 2x, our differential is going to be simply 2. So now we have our du dx and we have our dy du. So if we multiply them like we had stated before, which is dy dx is now going to be equal to 1 over u by our du dx, which is 12x squared minus 2. But we know that our u is equal to 4x cubed minus 2x. So dy dx is now equal to 1 over, we bring in our u back here, which is 4x cubed minus 2x multiplied by 12x squared minus 2. So ultimately our dy dx is equal to 12x squared minus 2 divided by 4x cubed minus 2x. And that's our answer. And the corresponding option here is D. Question 26 says, if f of x is equal to 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 8, what is the value of f of minus 2? Now, all they want us to do here is substitute x for minus 2 in this equation. So f of minus 2 is equal to 3 minus 2 cubed plus 4 minus 2 squared plus minus 2 minus 8. So this is going to be equal to 3 times minus 2 cubed is equal to minus 8. That's minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2. So minus 2 times minus 2 is equal to 4. And 4 times minus 2 brings back the minus, which is minus 8. So that's minus 8 plus 4. Minus 2 squared is equal to 4 plus minus 2 minus 8. So this is going to be equal to 3 times minus 8 is equal to minus 24 plus 4 times 4 is equal to 16. Now minus 2 becomes minus 2 here, minus 8. So minus 24 plus 16 minus 2 minus 8, that's equal to minus 18. So our answer here is C. Question 27 says, solve for x in this inequality. Now if we have 4x minus 6 over 3 less than or equal to 3 plus 2x over 2. And the first thing we want to do to make our lives easy is get rid of the denominators here. So we can do that by cross multiplying. So if we do that, we have 2 multiplied by 4x minus 6. And then we multiply everything here by 3. That's 3 multiplied by 3 plus 2x. So our equation becomes 2 times 4x is 8x. 2 times minus 6 is minus 12. Less than or equal to 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2x is equal to plus 6x. Now we can solve our equation. Now remember that the only time our inequality changes is if we divide or multiply both sides by a negative number. Otherwise, our inequality remains the same. So let's go ahead. So first things, let's collect like terms. So we can do that by sending 6 all over to this side. And that will make plus 6 minus 6. So we'll have 8x minus 6x. And then we send 12 over to this side. That will make minus 12 plus 12. So 9 plus 12. So now our equation becomes 8 minus 6x is 2x less than or equal to 9 plus 12, which is 21. So x, if we divide both sides by 2, x is equal to 21 over 2. And our answer here is B. 28 says, solve the inequality minus 7 is less than or equal to 9 minus 8x, which is less than 16 minus x. So if we have a situation like this, the best thing is to split this into 2 inequalities. So the first one is going to be this, that's minus 7 less than or equal to 9 minus 8x. And the second one is going to be this, which is 9 minus 8x is less than 16 minus x. So let's solve them differently and then we'll join our answers together later to get whatever we have here. So the first part of the equation says minus 7 is less than 9 minus 8x. If we collect like terms and leave minus 8x alone on this side, we send 9 over to this side, making this minus 9. So we have minus 7 minus 9 less than or equal to minus 8x. So minus 7 minus 9 becomes minus 16x, minus 16 less than or equal to minus 8x. So if we divide both sides by minus 8 to make x the surrogate formula here. So if we do that, we'll have minus 8 minus 8. So this cancels out to give us 2. But because we've divided both sides by a negative number, our inequality is going to change from less than to greater than or equal to, and minus 8 cancels out minus 8 here to leave us with x. So we've gotten our answers to the first part of our equation. So if we'll solve the second part of our equation, we'll do the same thing by collecting like terms. So let's move 16 to this side of our equation. That will give us minus 16. So we'll have 9 minus 16 less than minus x, and then we'll move negative 8x to this side to give us plus 8x. So now 9 minus 16 becomes minus 7 less than minus 8 plus 8x becomes 7x. So if we divide both sides by 7 here, we'll have minus 1 less than x. Now the sign doesn't change because we divided by a positive number 7. So let's join these two answers to get the expression that corresponds with our answers here. So to do that, I would advise that you always start with the lowest number or the lower number. In this case, minus 1 is lower than 2. So we have minus 1 less than x. That's this expression we have here. But in this case, we have that 2 is greater than or equal to x. So if 2 is greater than x, therefore x has to be less than or equal to 2. And that's how you combine your answers. If 2 is greater than x, then x has to be less than or equal to 2. So the answer that corresponds to what we have here is D. Question 29 says the nth term of a sequence is given by 2 raised to the power 2n minus 1. Find the sum of the first 4 terms. Now, we're told that the nth term is given by 2 raised to the power 2n minus 1. So our first term is going to be equal to 2 raised to the power 2, n becomes 1 in this case, minus 1. And 2 multiplied by 1 is equal to 2 minus 1, that's equal to 1. So this becomes 2 raised to the power 1. So the first term is 2. Our second term is 2 raised to the power 2, our n becomes 2 in this case, minus 1. So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. 4 minus 1, that's 3. So second term is 2 raised to the power 3, and that's 8. Now you could continue by finding the third and the fourth term and then adding all up. But let's use the formula method instead, because what if we were asked to find the first 16 terms? That means you would have to find each of the 16 terms. Instead, we can use the formula for the summation of a sequence for geometric projection, which says that the sum of the sequence is equal to a into r raised to the power n minus 1 all over r minus 1. Now a here is the first term, r is the common ratio, n is the number of terms whose summation you're looking for. A is equal to 2, that's our first term. Our r is equal to t2 over t1. So r is always equal to t2 over t1 or t3 over t2 if those are the terms you have. But it's always a term over the preceding term. So in this case, our t2, let's get rid of this so that we don't create confusion. In this case, t2 is equal to 8, which is what we have here, and t1 is equal to 2. So r equals 4. And n, in this particular case, because we're looking for the first 4 terms, n is equal to 4 as well. So S4 is equal to our first term, which is 2. R is 4, raised to power n, which is also 4, minus 1, all divided by 4 minus 1. So S4 is equal to 2. 4 raised to power 4 gives us 256 minus 1, all divided by 4 minus 1. And this is equal to 2 multiplied by 255, 3. So if you solve this, you're going to have 510 divided by 3, which is equal to 170. So our answer here is D. Question 30 says integrate 2x squared plus x with respect to x between the limits minus 1 and 2. So first, let's remind ourselves of how we integrate. If we have x raised to power n, to integrate this with respect to x, you have, first we add 1 to our power here, so n plus 1, and then we divide by the new power, n plus 1. So if we integrate 2x squared here, we'll have 2x raised to power 2 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1. And the integration of x here is going to be x. X is ordinarily raised to power 1, so we have to add 1 to that, and then we'll also divide that by 1 plus 1. Don't forget that we're integrating between two limits, minus 1 and 2. So our equation becomes 2x cubed over 3 plus x squared over 2. between 1 and 2. So to integrate between two limits, what we have to do is evaluate this expression for each limit and then subtract our answers. So to evaluate for the upper limit, all we have to do is substitute x for 2 in this expression. So we have 2 multiplied by 2 raised to power 3 divided by 3 plus 2 raised to power 2 divided by 2. And then we subtract this from the expression of our lower limits, which is going to be 2 multiplied by minus 1 raised to power 3 over 3 plus minus 1 squared over 2. So this is equal to 2 cubed is 8. Now 8 times 2 is equal to 16 over 3 plus this is 4 squared, 2 squared is 4 over 2 minus 1 cubed is minus 1 times 2, that's minus 2 over 3. And minus 1 squared is equal to 1, so we have plus 1 over 2 here. So if we evaluate this, if we evaluate the first bracket here, we have an LCM of 6. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 16 is 32. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 12. Minus, we also have an LCM of 6 here. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. 6 divided by 2, 3. 3 times 1 is plus 3. So here we have 44 over 6 minus 1 over 6. And that's 44 over 6 plus 1 over 6. Obviously, this is 45 over 6. If you reduce the fraction by 3, you have 15 over 2, which is the same as 7.5. So our answer here is C. Question 31 says, if P varies inversely as the square root of Q, where P equals 3 and Q equals 16, find value of Q when P equals 4. So we're told that P varies inversely. When its inverse is 1 over the square root of Q. If it varies directly, if we were told that it varies directly, that would have been P varies directly as Q. But in this case, inverse means 1 over whatever it is. And we know that our variation term is the same thing as equals to a constant K, which is the constant of proportionality. So we have to find that. So to do that, that will be P is equal to K over the square root of Q. We're given the value of P here as 3. We still don't know our K, and Q is equal to 16. So if we solve for K here, we will have that 3 equals K over 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Now K is simply 4 times 3 here if you cross multiply, and that's K is equal to 12. So our new equation of proportionality equals P equals 12 over the square root of Q. So now we've been given new values, and the new value is that when P is 4, we're requested to find K. So if we put that into our new equation, we have that P equals 4 equals 12 over the square root of Q. So to make Q the square root of the formula here, all we have to do is cross multiply, send Q over here and bring 4 down here. So we have that the square root of Q is equal to 12 over 4. And that's equal to 3. So if the square root of Q is equal to 3, to find Q, all we have to do is square both sides. And if you square this, that gives us Q. And if you square this, that gives us 9. So Q equals 9. That's C. 32 says, Tade bought 200 mangoes at 4 for 202 naira 50 kobo. Question 32 says, Tade bought 200 mangoes at 4 for 2 naira 50 kobo. 30 out of the mangoes got spoiled, and the remaining were sold at 2 for 2 naira 40 kobo. Find the percentage profit or loss. So the first thing we need to do is find the cost price. And we're told that he bought 200 mangoes, but he bought it in a bunch of 4. And for each bunch of 4, he paid 2 naira 50 kobo. So for each bunch of 4, he paid 2 naira 50 kobo. So this is 50 times 2 naira 50 kobo. And this is equal to 125 naira. And then out of this 200, we're told that out of the 200, we're told that 30 got spoiled. So if 30 got spoiled, what's left is 170. So to get the selling price, he sold 170 mangoes in a bunch of 2. And he sold that for 2 naira 40 kobo. So this is equal to 85 multiplied by 2.40. And that's going to be equal to 204 naira. So this right here is the cost price, and this right here is the selling price. Now we know that profit or loss is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. And that's equal to 204 minus 125. So his profit is 79. If he had made a loss, this would have been minus, it would have been a negative number. So now we know he made a profit. So what is the percentage profit? The percentage profit is equal to profit over the cost price times 100. So we have 79 over the cost price, which is 125 times 100. And this results in 63.2%. So our answer is C. Question 33 says the simple interest on 8,550 naira for 3 years at X% per annum is 4,890 naira. Calculate the value of X to the nearest whole number. So the formula for simple interest is principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time. So here we have that our interest is equal to 4,890. We have that P, our principal, is equal to 8,550. And we know that our time is equal to 3 years. And we're requested to find our R. So our R is what we're looking for. So from here, if we make R the solution to the formula, all we have to do is divide both sides by PT. So R becomes our interest divided by PT. So our rates is equal to I, which is 4890, multiplied by P, which is 8550, multiplied by our time. So this is 4890 divided by 25,650. So R is equal to 0.1906. And this, if you multiply it by 100, is 19.06%. To the nearest whole number, this is 19%. So our answer is A. Question 34 says we should simplify this expression here. So one law that we should have in mind is the law of indices that says that A raised to power m n is the same as A raised to power m all multiplied by n. So if we apply that to this expression here, we have that our expression is 81 raised to power minus 3 over 4 multiplied by 25 raised to power half multiplied by 243 raised to power 2 over 5. So this is the same as 81 raised to power 1 over 4 multiplied by minus 3 times, and this is remains 25 raised to power half, and this becomes 243 raised to power 1 over 5 all squared. So if we evaluate this, this becomes, we're looking for the fourth root of 81 raised to power minus 3. And in this case, we're looking for the square root of 25. In this case, we're looking for the fifth root of 243 all squared. So the fourth root of 81 is equal to 3. raised to power minus 3 multiplied by the square root of 25 is 5, and the fifth root of 243 is 3 raised to power 2. Now if we combine these terms here, another law of indices to know is that when a raised to power n is multiplying a raised to power n, then this is the same as am plus n. So if we combine these two 3's here, we have that 3 is raised to power minus 3 plus 2 multiplied by 5. Our equation becomes minus 3 plus 2 is equal to minus 1. So this is 3 raised to power minus 1 times 5. And we know that anything raised to power minus 1 is 1 over that number. So 1 over 3 multiplied by 5 is equal to 5 over 3. So our answer here is D. Question 35 says we should find the value of this expression to 3 significant figures. So if we find 0.5436 cubed, that's going to result in 0.16034. And if we multiply the denominator here, that's 0.017 multiplied by 0.219, would have 0.003723. And this will be equal to 43.146. So 3 significant figures would have 1, 2, 3. So we have to stop after the 1. And then this is not equal, is not up to 5. So we cannot round up. So our final answer is 43.1, which is B. Question 36 says, if s is equal to 4t plus 3 multiplied by t minus 2, find the s to t when t equals 5 seconds. So all we're required to do here is find the derivative of this expression s and then substitute t for 5 in our derivative. So s is equal to 4t plus 3 multiplied by t minus 2. So if we expand this, we'll have that 4t multiplied by t is 4t squared. 4t multiplied by minus 2 is equal to minus 8t. And 3 multiplied by t is equal to plus 3t. And t multiplied by minus 2 is equal to minus 6. So s becomes 4t squared. Minus 8t plus 3t is minus 5t minus 6. So if we find the derivative of s, don't forget how we derive our derivative. If we have x raised to power n, we have x nx n minus 1. So this is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 4 is 8, and t2 minus 1 is equal to 1, so that's 8t. Now the derivative of 5t is simply 5, and the derivative of a constant is 0, so this is our derivative. If you substitute 5 for t in this expression, we have 8 multiplied by 5 minus 5, and that's 4t minus 5. So our answer is 35 units per second, and that's B. Question 37 says the angles of a polygon are given by 2x, 5x, x, and 4x respectively. The value of x is. Now we can already tell that this is a quadrilateral because there are 4 angles here. And we know that the sum of angles in a quadrilateral is equal to 360. So that means 2x plus 5x plus x plus 4x equals 360. Now this, if we add all this together, we'll get 12x, and this is equal to 360. So if we divide both sides by 12, we have that x is equal to 360 over 12, which is equal to 30. So x is equal to 30 degrees, and our answer is B. Question 38 says the weight of a day-old chick was measured to be 0.21 grams. If the actual weight of the chick is 0.18 grams, what is the percentage error in measurement? So first, let's compute the error in measurements. The error in measurements is calculated simply by subtracting both measurements that we have here, the correct and the wrong one. So that's 0.21 minus 0.18. And this is equal to 0.03. So this is the error we have. Now to find the percentage error, that's going to be equal to the error over the correct measurement multiplied by 100. So the error here is 0.03, and we're told that the correct measurement is 0.18 multiplied by 100. And this is equal to 0.1667 times 100. So our percentage error is 16.67% or 16.7%. So our correct answer here is D. So question 39 says evaluate this expression correct to one decimal place. So first, let's eliminate all decimal places in this expression to make our lives easier. So to do that for this first part, we will have to multiply by 100. So that moves the decimal place 2.12, and we have 32. But we have to also multiply the numerator by 100 as well. So 6 times 100 is equal to 600. And 0.32 multiplied by 100 is equal to 32. To get rid of the denominator, the decimal place here, we have to multiply the denominator by 1000. And we also have to multiply the numerator by the same. So 2 times 1000 is equal to 2000. And this multiplied by 1000 is 84. So now we can go ahead and reduce our fractions. So we can't forget that we still have our raised to the power minus 1 here. So now we can change our division sign here to a multiplication sign and then flip this second fraction here. So if we do that, we would have 600 over 32 multiplied by 84 over 2000 raised to the power minus 1. So 100 reduces this to 6 and 100 reduces this to 20. So 4 can go here 8 times and 4 can go here 21 times. 2 can go here 3 times and 2 can go here 4 times. So we're left with 3 multiplied by 21, which is equal to 63, and 4 multiplied by 20, which is equal to 80, all raised to the power minus 1. So this becomes 80 over 63. That's finding the inverse and getting rid of the minus 1 flips the fraction. And this is ultimately equal to 1.2698. And to one decimal point, to one decimal place, we can, this is more than 5, so we can approximate that to be equal to 1.3. So our answer here is A. Question 40 says, if 2 raised to the power x plus y equals 16 and 4 raised to the power x minus y equals 1 over 32, find the values of x and y. So if we have 2 raised to the power x plus y equals 16 and 4 raised to the power x minus y is equal to 1 over 32. Now a good way of solving this equation is to make our bases equal and then we can equate the powers. A good law of indices to know is that if a raised to the power m is equal to a raised to the power n, if the bases are the same, then m has to be equal to n. So if we apply that here, we would have that 2 raised to the power x plus y is equal to 16 is equal to 2 raised to the power 4. And we know that 4 is equal to 2 raised to the power 2, but we still have our raised to the power x minus y. And 1 over 32 is the same as saying 32 raised to the power minus 1. And we know that 32 is equal to 2 raised to the power 5. So ultimately, this is equal to 2 raised to the power minus 5. So we have 2 raised to the power minus 5 here. Now, given this, and from this law of indices here, if we apply that to this, then we can say that x plus y is equal to 4, and this expression is equal to minus 5. So x plus y equals 4, and 2x, if we expand the bracket here, 2x, 2 multiplied by x is 2x, and 2 multiplied by minus y is equal to minus 2y is equal to minus 5. 2 equations which we have to solve simultaneously. So this is a simultaneous equation problem. So from equation 1 here, if we make y the solution to the formula, we have that y is equal to 4 minus x. So now that we have what represents y here, if we substitute for y in equation 2, we can be able to solve. So if we do that, we have that 2x minus 2, y becomes 4 minus x equals minus 5. So this is the same as saying 2x minus 2 times 4 is minus 8, and minus 2 times minus x is plus 2x equals minus 5. So 2x plus 2x, if we are combining like terms, becomes 4x minus 8 equals minus 5. So from here, we know that 4x is equal to minus 5. If we bring 8 to this side, that's going to be plus 8. And this is going to be equal to 3. So if 4x is equal to 3, therefore, if 4x is equal to 3, then x is equal to 3 over 4 if we divide both sides by 4. So now we have the value for x. All we have to do is put that into this equation here, and we have the value for y. So y equals 4 minus 3 over 4. And if we solve this fraction, we have this becomes 16 minus 3. So this is 13 over 4. So x is 3 over 4 and y is equal to 13 over 4. And our answer here is B. So thank you for staying with me up until this point, but this is not the end. This is only the first 40 of 80 questions that we're going to be solving for 2019. So if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and tell people about it. I'll see you on the next one.